They were pinned. SEAL team outnumbered, low on ammo, no air cover in sight. "Call the strike," their leader growled. Seconds later, they heard it low, angry, and close. A Warthog screamed through the sky, no chatter to no call sign. Then fire dust and silence. Every target eliminated. She never spoke, just banked left and vanished. "If you believe some heroes fly without needing permission type," she answered. SEAL Team Echo was operating deep inside hostile territory, middle of a compromised extraction operation, intelligence proving unreliable, and enemy reinforcement units closing their position from multiple directions at alarming speed. Their tactical communications were experiencing dangerous delays due to atmospheric interference. The assigned UAV had been unexpectedly pulled from their operational area over an hour earlier due to mechanical failures. They maintained defensive positions within a crumbling village compound, critically understaffed, insufficiently armed, and completely surrounded by hostile forces that outnumbered them 3-1. No eyes in the sky providing overwatch. No air cover available. "What's our tactical option now?" one team member whispered through encrypted comms. The experienced team leader checked his ruggedized tactical tablet for updated intelligence. "Fallback extraction in 6 minutes maximum. If we manage to survive that long." And then transmitted from the western approach vector came a single cryptic message on a heavily restricted military frequency. "Eyes open, mark your targets." No official call sign identification, no authorization confirmation from command. "Who the hell is transmitting on that channel?" "Doesn't matter right now," the commander decided quickly. "Paint the grid coordinates immediately." They launched colored smoke markers, designated thermal target zones with laser guidance, and braced for whatever response might come. But what approached their position wasn't what anyone had expected. The distinctive sound was absolutely unmistakable to experienced combat veterans. GAU-8 Avenger cannon spinning up to operational speed. A-10 Thunderbolt 2. Close proximity, high-speed approach. But no IFF transponder ping confirming friendly aircraft. Just pure concentrated fury approaching their coordinates. The sound grew louder, more menacing, as the aircraft approached at low altitude. Combat veterans recognized the specific acoustic signature of the Warthog's massive 30mm cannon system, but the approach pattern violated standard close air support protocols. No radio communication with ground forces, no coordination with tactical air control, no confirmation of friendly positions, just an unknown aircraft inbound on their position with weapon systems active. "Incoming aircraft unidentified," the communications specialist reported with obvious concern. The team leader made a critical decision. Hold position, wait for target identification. They could hear the distinctive whine of turbofan engines growing closer. The aircraft was definitely military, definitely American, but operating outside normal command authority. "Unknown pilot, this is SEAL Team Echo. Identify yourself and mission parameters." The commander transmitted on standard tactical frequencies. No response. The sound continued approaching, suggesting someone was preparing to engage targets in their immediate area. But without communication, they couldn't determine if the pilot understood their positions. "Could be friendly fire incident," someone warned. "Could be our salvation," the commander replied grimly. The enemy forces surrounding their compound were preparing for final assault. Time was running out for extraction or reinforcement. If this unknown aircraft was hostile, they were finished. If it was friendly but uncoordinated, they might be finished anyway. But if it was someone responding to their desperate situation, the sound reached maximum intensity, indicating the aircraft was directly overhead. Every team member instinctively sought cover while maintaining visual contact with designated targets. They were about to discover whether this unexpected arrival represented salvation or catastrophe. The GAU-8 cannon sound indicated serious firepower was about to be deployed, but the targeting remained unknown. In combat situations, uncertainty could be more dangerous than confirmed enemy contact. But they were out of alternatives. Their ammunition was nearly exhausted. Their positions were compromised. Their extraction window was closing. Whatever happened next would determine whether they survived the mission. The unknown aircraft represented their last hope for successful extraction, or their final moments in hostile territory. The first attack pass was surgically precise, beyond anything they had witnessed in conventional air support operations. 4 enemy vehicles exploded simultaneously in a perfect crescent formation, flames creating an exact protective barrier along the outside perimeter of SEAL Team Echo's defensive positions. Second devastating pass heavily fortified infantry bunkers were systematically flattened before enemy personnel could mount effective counterattacks. Still no radio communication whatsoever. Still no pilot voice confirmation. No tactical chatter, no coordination calls, the team spotter shouted over the explosive chaos. The A-10 Thunderbolt pulled into a steep climb, executed a sharp banking maneuver, then descended again with the perfect attack angle for maximum effectiveness. She's using visual-only targeting, one experienced SEAL observed with obvious amazement. That's absolutely insane precision. The Warthog's devastating 30-millimeter rounds stitched methodically across the far compound structures, systematically cutting down the second wave of enemy reinforcements before they could breach the defensive walls. Enemy gunfire ceased completely across the entire operational area. Thick dust clouds settled gradually over the devastated battlefield. Then absolute silence replaced the chaos of combat. The A-10 didn't circle for damage assessment as standard protocol required. It climbed once with powerful engine thrust, tilted one wing in apparent acknowledgement, and disappeared completely into the atmospheric haze. "Who was that pilot?" someone asked with obvious bewilderment. The SEAL team leader walked carefully toward the broken edge of the courtyard to assess the tactical situation. On a scorched fragment of compound wall, someone noticed a faint burn mark of a phoenix symbol singed permanently into the cement surface from aircraft heat wash. "That's not a standard squadron marking," one team member whispered with growing recognition. "That's a personal signature." The experienced commander stared thoughtfully at the empty sky where the aircraft had vanished. "That was Ghost Talon," he said quietly with obvious respect. "She flew classified black missions. Official reports said she disappeared from active duty." Another voice replied with understanding, "No, she just stopped responding to official channels." The precision of the attack had been beyond standard close air support capabilities. Every target eliminated without endangering friendly forces. Every shot placed with surgical accuracy that suggested intimate knowledge of ground tactical situations. The unknown pilot had demonstrated combat skills that exceeded normal military training. Her attack pattern showed complete understanding of SEAL team positioning, enemy force distribution, and optimal engagement sequences. But she had operated without any communication coordination or official authorization. "How did she know our exact positions?" one team member asked. "She was watching before we called for help," the commander realized. The timing had been too perfect for coincidental response. She had been monitoring their situation, assessing threats, and positioning for intervention before they transmitted distress calls. "She was already inbound when we marked targets," another SEAL confirmed. The attack had been planned and executed by someone with complete situational awareness, not someone responding to emergency calls, but someone who had been prepared to act. "Why didn't she respond to our communications?" the spotter wondered. "Because she doesn't answer to our command structure," the leader explained. The pilot operated outside normal military authority, following personal mission parameters rather than official orders. Her intervention had saved their lives, but she remained completely anonymous. No identification, no communication, no request for recognition or thanks. Just professional execution of life-saving air support when it was desperately needed. The phoenix symbol remained as the only evidence of her presence, a signature that confirmed she had been there, had seen their situation, and had chosen to act. But her identity, her authority, and her current status remained completely unknown. She had answered their need without answering their questions. Back at their forward operating base, absolutely no one in command could identify the mysterious aircraft in official flight operation logs. "We didn't launch anything to your area of operations," command headquarters insisted firmly. "Nothing scheduled in your AO according to our records." The SEAL team submitted comprehensive footage, thermal overlay imagery, audio recordings, and partial tail number markings captured during the engagement. One intelligence analyst ran the aircraft identification numbers through military databases and froze completely. That specific Warthog has been officially decommissioned for over 5 years. "Then how the hell did it save our entire team?" the intelligence lead demanded with obvious frustration. A heavily classified file was pulled from restricted archives. Phoenix 13 Ghost Talon, former official designation Airborne Response Specialist. Current status classified, inactive. Security clearance beyond Tier 1 authorization levels. Someone whispered with an obvious concern, "She's operating rogue." But the SEAL team leader shook his head definitively. "No, she's selective about her missions." The mysterious A-10 never landed at any official airbase, never refueled at authorized facilities. It appeared executed its mission, then vanished without trace. Later that week, an unmarked package arrived at SEAL Team Echo's unit headquarters, no return address or shipping identification. Inside the package, a single bullet casing melted completely flat from extreme heat, engraved on the flattened metal precise coordinates. Coordinates that matched their planned fallback extraction route exactly. She'd already identified our backup plan, one SEAL realized with growing amazement. Provided Overwatch coverage before we even called for help. She was already inbound to our position, another team member confirmed, before we even transmitted the distress signal. The implications were staggering. The unknown pilot had been monitoring their mission, tracking their movements, and preparing intervention before they requested assistance. She possessed intelligence capabilities that exceeded their operational security measures, and combat skills that surpassed standard military training. "How did she access our mission parameters?" someone asked. "She didn't access them," the commander replied. "She predicted them." The pilot had demonstrated tactical understanding that allowed her to anticipate their needs before they recognized those needs themselves. Professional competence that transcended normal military command structures. Her intervention hadn't been reactive response to emergency calls. It had been proactive protection based on superior situational awareness. "What's her current operational status?" the intelligence officer inquired. The classified file provided no current information, just historical records of exceptional service, followed by mysterious disappearance from official rosters. "She's ghost status," someone concluded. "Officially doesn't exist. But unofficially saves lives," the team leader added. They began understanding that some military personnel operated outside normal chains of command. Individuals with capabilities so exceptional that they transcended traditional military hierarchy. People who served their own mission parameters while maintaining loyalty to ground forces in danger. "Is she military or civilian?" someone asked. "She's whatever she needs to be," the commander answered. The classification level of her service record suggested involvement in operations that officially never happened, missions that required capabilities beyond normal military training, and results that couldn't be publicly acknowledged. Her current activities remained completely unknown to official channels, but her intervention in their crisis proved she remained actively protective of military personnel in hostile situations. Whether she operated with authorization or independently didn't matter to the lives she had saved. "Will we see her again?" one team member wondered. "Only if we need her," the leader replied. The burned phoenix symbol had been her signature, proof that some heroes operated in shadows, providing protection without seeking recognition, and that salvation sometimes came from sources that official systems couldn't track or control. The SEAL team continued their operational deployments, continued fighting in hostile territories. But every time air support was mentioned during mission briefings, someone always asked with hopeful curiosity, "Think she's still watching our sector?" Her legendary story never appeared in official military reports, never reached press coverage or public recognition. But inside the most classified circles, when elite teams discussed miraculous interventions, they spoke one name with reverence: Ghost Talon. At a restricted airbase in Nevada, one aircraft hangar remained permanently unassigned to official operations. Inside the secure facility, a single flight suit hung from maintenance equipment. No name tag or rank insignia. Just the detailed silhouette outline of a Warthog aircraft and a meticulously stitched Phoenix emblem in silver thread. And beneath the flight suit, written in permanent marker on the concrete hangar floor, "She answered." Military personnel who discovered the shrine understood its significance immediately. It represented someone who had transcended normal military service to become something more essential. A guardian who operated outside official channels but remained committed to protecting those who served their country. Her legend spread through special operations communities like sacred knowledge. Not discussed openly for security reasons, but shared privately among those who understood the value of unofficial protection. New teams would hear whispered stories about the phantom pilot who appeared when situations became desperate. Veterans would share accounts of impossible rescues and precisely timed interventions, but no one claimed to have communicated with her directly. She remained a presence rather than a person, a force that responded to need rather than orders. Her aircraft became a symbol that transcended individual identity, representing the idea that some heroes operated beyond recognition or reward, people who served because service itself was their mission. Years later, military training programs would study unidentified air support incidents, cases where aircraft appeared without authorization, executed perfect missions, then vanished without explanation. Instructors would theorize about unauthorized operations and rogue military personnel. But students who became special operations veterans learned the truth through experience. Sometimes salvation came from sources that couldn't be officially acknowledged. And sometimes the most important protection was provided by people who didn't need permission to act. Her story became a benchmark for selfless service, the standard by which other military legends were measured, not for publicity or promotion, but for pure commitment to protecting fellow service members. Aviation museums would display A-10 Thunderbolt aircraft with historical placards describing their combat effectiveness, but they couldn't display the most significant example, because Ghost Talon's aircraft existed in a realm beyond public documentation. Her service transcended normal military records. Her impact exceeded measurable statistics. Her legacy lived in the lives she had saved and the hope she represented. Proof that some people dedicated themselves completely to purposes larger than personal recognition, and that true heroes often worked in shadows known only by their results. The Phoenix symbol appeared occasionally at military bases worldwide, burned into surfaces or etched into equipment by unknown hands. A reminder that protection sometimes came from unexpected sources, and that the most important question wasn't who provided help, but whether help arrived when desperately needed. Military chaplains would tell stories about guardian angels who flew aircraft instead of possessing wings, metaphors that helped explain interventions that exceeded rational explanation. But veterans knew the truth was simpler and more profound. Some people chose to serve without seeking credit. Some heroes answered calls for help without announcing their presence. Some legends were written and saved lives rather than official records. If you believe real missions need no broadcasts, subscribe to Steelheart Stories.